What's up? What's up? What's up, y'all? This is Down the Rabbit Hole with 4/5. I'm the host, Hocus 4/5, and I'm here with my co-host, Balance.
Hey
What's
guys,
up, Balance? How was your day today?
pretty good day. I'm living in gratitude like always. How you doing?
I'm doing all right. You got the little Mary had a little lamb look going on over there.
Ah, that's how it turned out. I don't know.
Yo, y'all, we got a special guest today, man. Talented brother, all the way from the West Coast. You know what I mean? Tapped in with us down the rabbit hole. We got Locksmith, y'all.
Yo, it's good. Thanks for having me.
Yo, thanks for coming, bro. Really appreciate it. You know what's crazy, y'all? Me and Locksmith is on 2 songs together, and we didn't even know that. We never even met each other. I know y'all gonna be like, how that even happen, right? K Slade, 50 Deep, 100. Are you on 200 Deep too?
Yeah, I just sent them my verse maybe like couple weeks ago.
Oh, so we on 3 songs together. I'm on that too. Yeah. That's crazy. Yeah. We on 3 songs together. Shout out to K Slade. That's my big bro.
It took me like 3 weeks to finally get through the whole song, the last one. I was like, hold on, let me just listen to this.
Well, how long? It was like an hour and some change, right? An hour and a half.
An hour long. Yeah.
Hell yeah, it took me some time too to get through it, but I was like, that shit's dope though. I love what K Slade doing, you know. He giving brothers like us a voice, even though we got our own voice. He putting us on his platform, which is huge.
Always a good brother, man. K Slade's always shown me so much love, man. He does that. The thing that people don't understand about K Slade, just real quick, is that K, he don't give a damn where you from. If you dope and he fuck with you, he's gonna show you love. And there's no ulterior motives. There's no like, yo, this person is. If you dope, he gonna show you love. So that's it, and that's all for sure.
Yo, big ups to K Slade, man. That's my big bro. But you know, we up here, we got Locksmith up here. Locksmith, real quick, just let them know who you are, where you from, and give us a little bit of your background from coming up, just quick, brief, coming up to to what you're doing as far as rap and all that.
Yeah, I'm from the Bay Area. I'm from a small city in Northern California, the Bay Area, Richmond, California. So I grew up, like not too far from Oakland, not too far from Berkeley. Came up rapping, doing my thing. I was in a group called Frontline for many years, and then I started doing my own solo thing. One of the main things that kind of got me going with my solos career is actually when I came to New York. I connected with Ski Beats, who is a legendary producer for Jay-Z and Camp Lo and all that kind of stuff. I came out to New York, connected with Ski Beats. We did a whole project together under Dame Dash's label initially, and that kind of like got my feet wet as far as like a solo artist getting out there. Then I just start connecting with a lot of folks in New York, start building my own catalog, releasing music independently, going on tour, touring the whole world, Europe, United States, a bunch of times, and collaborating with just numerous artists, and just, learning the independent music game, and, continue to do my art, man.
Yo, you got like a distinct style. Like, I was watching some of your freestyles and shit last night. I'm like, nah, he different with it, man. Like coming up out there in Oakland, like in New York, coming up for me being an artist from New York, it's a lot of competition and it's hard. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like it takes a lot for you to be noticed. And I could say that I have been noticed, you know what I mean, in my city. Mm-hmm. Like, how was it for you trying to come out as an artist in Oakland? Is it hard? Is it more love, or is it,
So yeah, I mean, it's a little, the Bay Area, Northern California is a little different. Like, because a lot of people, when people say California, they automatically think LA. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But LA is a little bit different. The Bay Area is a little bit different than LA. It's not as big. It's not a big, like New York is a big market. You know what I'm saying? LA is a big market. The Bay is it's a bigger market, but it's not as big as those markets. So there's a lot of competition. There's a lot of, trying to get noticed. I came up mainly listening to like a combination of both. Like I had an older sister and an older brother. My older sister was more into like West Coast, like Ice Cube, NWA, that type of stuff. But then my brother was more into New York hip hop, like, KRS-One, EPMD. So I kind of got exposed to both. And then, so that was what initially kind of got me like, focused on hip hop, like, yo, I love this music. And then when I actually started rapping, actually started MCing, it was there was a local, like the Bay Area is known for our independent music hustle. You know what I'm saying? We're considered like the inventors of the independent hustle, you know, because we weren't in LA, we weren't in New York. So we had to like, yo, how do we do this? So you had people like Too Short, you had people like E40, even MC Hammer started off independent, slanging it out the truck, slanging it on the corner. So we had those mechanisms in place, of those blueprints to be like, okay, look, you know what? There's no record labels, no major record labels out here. So the grind is a little bit different in the sense of we're not like in New York, you know, even though there's so much competition, but you do have Def Jam, you do have, you know what I'm saying, all these Sonys and Columbia Records, all these places are in New York. Whereas to us, you know, coming up, that seemed like a million miles away. So you had to do it independently. So we looked at people like Too Short and these people like, look, all right, you know what? We're going to have to do this independently first. So we had to learn that independent game. We had to learn, you know, pressing up your own CDs, taking them to the record store. So that was our way of trying to like, our introduction, or like our mini introduction to the music business. But for me personally, anybody that knows my history, something I kind of stumbled into was like the battle rap scene. And I didn't even know I could do that. But when I kind of recognized I had a knack for freestyling and battle rapping and that kind of thing, that's what I was able to initially build a name for myself. You know, and this is before like YouTube and all this kind of stuff. This is just like the pure freestyle battle on a corner.
On a corner,
you know,
right.
You know what I mean? Yeah, just, you know, like that's how I kind of developed and got my reputation, was just like battling cats on the corner. And I didn't even know I knew how to battle, but I just kind of fell into it. And everybody was like, yo, that dude Locksmith is nice. That dude. So that's how I kind of got like just recognition, just to even get anybody to notice my name, was definitely through the battle rap scene.
No, that's dope. And when you think of when we think of West Coast, most people on the East Coast, we think automatically, especially you're a rapper coming out here, we think you automatically gangbanging. You gangbanging or no?
No, that's what I'm saying. The Bay Area is different than LA. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like LA, especially like now, you know, the gangbanging culture has spread throughout the whole country. You know what I mean? Like you got Bloods and Crips and all kind of stuff all over the world, actually. But in the Bay, it was less about gangs and more about territory, cities. Kind of like how New York is. I mean, y'all had gangs back in the day too, but it's more so like, yo, I'm from, you know what I'm saying? I'm from Brooklyn. I'm from Bed-Stuy.
Right.
You know what I mean? I'm from Washington Heights or whatever. But in the Bay, it was like that too. It's more so like, yo, I'm from Richmond. I'm from Southside Richmond. I'm from this hood. I'm from these projects. You know what I mean? It was more so just about territorial, where we didn't have the gang element. LA, that was more of a gang, like that was more of a LA thing, where like Bloods and Crips and like all those kind of things. So, but then it infiltrated and got to the Bay Area as well. But it's definitely more so LA, not the Bay as much.
Okay. So yeah, so you ain't got no gang ties. You just
no.
Yeah,
Nah, man. I'm a college kid, man. I came up shooting hoop, going to college. I mean, I had cousins and people like that were, you know, into the, you know, the street life and stuff like that. But I was very fortunate enough to you know, have a good family, have good support systems around. So I was able to go to college and do stuff like that.
No, that's dope though. I wanted to point that out because you know, I came up affiliated in gangs, but you know, just I like that right now. What I do is I give back. You know what I mean? Like to show these kids that you ain't gotta do that. You know, I use my life as a testimony. You know what I mean? Like, yo, if I'd have made these choices or stuck to this, I would have never went to jail and facing life in prison. You know what I'm saying? And I use your life as an example. Like, look, he ain't have to do all that, and he's Locksmith. Like, he's somebody that's well known and respected in his area and beyond when it comes to lyricism. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, who's some give us some names, especially I know from the Bay Area. I know they all embrace you as far as like the E40s and all that, but give us some names you work with and all that over there, or some big names you feel like, you know, that fuck with you hard, that embrace you.
Man, let's see. Like I said, I want to say locally, one of the first people that I started working with is a producer, EA Ski from Oakland. You know,
EA Ski,
yeah, EA Ski. You know, produced stuff for like Spice One, Naughty by Nature. You know what I mean? That was like kind of one of the first people. But I've done collaborations and stuff for different projects for Too Short, all that kind of stuff. But really, a lot of the love that I started getting mainly was coming from the East Coast. You know, like I said, when I connected with Steve B, you know, in New York, and I started whittling around New York, and you know, and I got connected with like we were talking about, like K Slay, freestyling with K Slay. The homie Sway is from the Bay, so when I would come out to the New York, you know, he got the serious radio show, he'd be like, yo, Lock, would you come up here freestyle? So I started developing his name. Then next thing you know, Fat Joe showing me a lot of love. The Heat Makers, you know, Arsonists.
Shout out to Heat Makers, right? Those
Yeah, like
people.
every time I come to New York, I touch down with Arsonists. Like he's one of the first people that showed me love. Like, yo, Lock, come through. Rest in peace, Fred, the godson.
It's my guy.
You know, from the Bronx,
it's my
showed
guy.
me major love. Yeah, like always, yo, Lock, come through. And then just like, I mean, it's a lot of people in New York. I mean, a lot of my producers and people like that have always been from New York. So I just always they always felt that home coming to NY for sure.
Nah, no doubt. I mean, Balance, whenever you got a question, chime in. You know, my mind is always just.
Yeah, I feel like we ain't even let back. She just over here.
Yeah, my mind's always just working.
You know, I always gonna have a question, but I just let you go because I know you just like to ask a million questions. So I don't want to stop you. You know, it's cool.
No, but I could understand and definitely see why you was embracing New York, because especially back then, lyricism was everything. I mean, literally everything. Like you could literally get signed from rapping on the block and spitting some shit back in the day in New York. You know what I mean? If you was hot, if you stood out of everybody, you know what I mean? If you was just and nowadays it's more about image, style. I mean, always kind of been about image, but they shaped your image around. It wasn't the image wasn't first. Now I think the image is first. Like, you know, it's just like, you know, dress a certain way. It's like they got a certain model for the artist now. And it wasn't like that back then. You had, come on, Method Man was so unique from DMX, so unique from Jay-Z. Like all these people, they just so unique, different from each other. You know, nowadays everybody doing the same dancing, whatever. You know, I ain't knocking nobody. I'm just saying I can understand why back then you was embracing New York, because it was hard to be recognized as a lyricist. You know what I mean? And you definitely a lyricist. But Balance, I want you to chime in.
Okay, thank you. So I wanted to know, Locksmith, how you went from, you know, being a part of a duo to then stepping out on your own, because you guys, I think you met like in high school, you and Left, but I want to know like how that connection started out and then how you branched out on your own.
Yeah, we started off as just friends, you know, coming up. Like actually it was probably like right before high school, like middle school, like being friends, hooping. And you know, when you're young, you coming up the natural progression, like, oh, we playing sports. Oh, now we about to try to rap, you know what I mean? And then that was just kind of the natural progression of it. And we had a very, you know, short but a very successful career. You know, we had joints on the radio. We were performing at Summer Jam. Like we was on, you know, we were very much a part of the commercial world, if you want to say that. You know, we were performing at like, you know, like the big concerts, like the summer, like the equivalent to y'all summer jam, Hot 97. You know what I mean? We were performing at the ones out here in the Bay, and it was dope. You know, that was during that whole quote unquote like hyphy movement. You know what I mean? When that was popping, like 2005, 2006, 2007, like, you know, we're performing in these big shows, you know, songs on the radio. But then, you know, the game started changing. The internet started taking more prominence in the way people music. We had a record deal. You know, we released one project through the record deal, and then after that, you know, it was just kind of like things started changing, you know, and then people's lives and priorities started changing. Like he started focusing, like we both, you know, graduated from college, but he continued and his education. Now he's a professor teaching in college, you know what I'm saying? But I was more like, I was able to just keep on going with the music, you know, and it wasn't something I like totally had planned out, but I just kept going with it. And I would just say natural progression of life, just kind of changed ways as far as like our professional paths. But yeah, it just kind of took that shape.
Let me ask you, right now, what would you recommend somebody right now is watching this, like to stay independent, or like maybe, you know, go get a deal if the money is right? How you feel about that period, independence versus majors?
Well, I feel like right now it's almost like people like you have no choice but to be independent now. Like, you know, even record labels, I mean, I guess they probably are still signing people like sight on scene or like, you know what I mean? But most of the time people are working, they're building up their social media, they're releasing songs on, you know what I mean, on DistroKid or whatever. They're generating revenue and traction before a record label is even there. So by the time the record label comes, they've already created their own little independent following, their own independent hustle. They're touring, they're doing shows. So by the time the record label comes, they're just kind of distributing, you know, they might sign them to a deal and kind of enhance what they're doing, but they've already started that independent journey. I mean, that's kind of like the norm now, right?
Yeah, what I say is that you got to get up and go do everything. Go work, go do them little showcases, go, you know, jump on. Like now, like back in the day, people didn't really do much features. Now I think it's cool. Like, yo, go do a feature with a dude up the block if y'all cool. Go do a feature with everybody. Like, get your music out there in front of as much people as possible. Get your face out there in front of as much people as possible. Just because you got a little more following than somebody else, don't act Hollywood. Go out there and work right? You just work your ass off. Because it is an independent game. I agree with you.
Yeah, you got to build, man. I mean, I think that's just the beauty of social media.
Yeah,
is the fact that, you know, you can connect with people, man, anywhere. Like, I mean, I didn't connected with people, you know, down the street, but I didn't connect with people in Australia. You know what I mean? Like, you do songs, you just like, it's just your possibilities are endless now, and you got to take advantage of that. Like, it was much difficult, you know, when you coming up in the 2000s or the 90s or whatever. It was more difficult because there was gatekeepers, there were so many obstacles in your way. Like even going to the studio was just so much more expensive. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like you just had to, it was just so expensive. I mean, I remember having to get DATs and reel to reels and all that kind of shit. Like that stuff is just, it was just way more difficult. Now it's just like, it's completely open to you. You can just create it right in front of your computer. You can send it off to mix. You can mix it yourself. You can connect with people. You can collab. It's way easier now, for sure.
Yo, way easier, man. And I ain't gonna lie, I'm somebody who they definitely wouldn't let me in. If it wasn't for social media, my voice would not be heard. So I thank social media for having for real. Niggas be hating on me. But Locksmith, this is the rabbit hole, right? So when we in the rabbit hole, we start at a certain point and then we go deep. We start digging into the rabbit hole.
Let's go deep.
So like whatever question that if we do ask, if you feel like you don't want to answer, I don't really, you know what I mean?
I answer anything, man. I don't, you know, let's go down.
I wanna
I live in the rabbit hole.
That's what I'm talking about. But I want to start off with Nip though, man. Like how did when Nip passed, how did that affect y'all on the West Coast? I know he was closer to y'all than to us, but he was felt around the world. But how did that affect you? And as far as him with this, he was putting out the Dr. Sabi, you know, documentary. It never came out. And like, what are your views? It's like a double question. I don't know what's your views on like how you eat or whatever like that. I'm a plant-based eater, and so is she. I really wish that documentary would have came out. But how did that affect you? Affect y'all over there? You know what I mean? You per se when Nip passed.
Okay, I'll just say so. First, answer the question of how it affected. I remember distinctly when it happened. You know, we're talking 2019. I remember it happened right before I went on tour. And I remember I was going on tour with Murs, who's from LA. Like I said, the Bay Area is a little different than Los Angeles. Obviously, it had a huge effect on hip hop, and it had an even huger effect on the West Coast, and an even stronger effect on LA, particularly because that's where Nipsey is from. And I got more of a background of like, I heard of Nipsey Hussle since 07, 06, like, you know what I mean? Like, back then, you know what I mean, when he was signed, when he had a deal. I never met Nipsey personally, but I know a lot of people who knew him. I know a lot of people who was, you know, working with him, a lot of common things like that. So to see his ascension and him to finally, you know, very smart marketing things that he did to get his music out there, and because, you know, he was on the label and then he was off the label and he was doing it independent for a while, you know. And then he finally, you know, he finally broke through, you know what I mean? Like that, it was about to break through right before, you know, before he passed.
Right.
But I just remember just the overall feeling, because literally I don't remember exactly what month he passed, but I remember starting because
it was March.
Okay. So we started our tour at the beginning of April, you know what I'm saying? Or the end of March. So it was very close. It was like weeks after he had passed. Maybe even less. I can't remember exactly, but we started the tour in SoCal, in Southern California, I think in San Diego and then LA. And I remember the vibe, everybody was very torn apart, but it was also a lot of tension in the streets. I distinctly remember that. It was tension. It was gang tension. people was looking out, because this was a situation where it was, Nipsey, as all the good that he did, he was known, like, he was doing positive things, but it was gang, he was gang affiliated.
Right.
You know what I mean? And so I don't know, like I said, I'm not deep into the gang culture like that. So all I can see is from an outsider, from being in LA during that time. I distinctly even think we were in Inglewood, and I remember just like, it was like tension, like fools was like looking around. I think one of the dudes on tour was like, yo, he had just described the incident, like, yo, such and such happened. I was just like, damn, like, so there was definitely tension in the air of people, but the mass people was just like sad, just deep, just very sad, because we knew Nip as a dope artist, as somebody who's giving back in the community, doing things positive. So everybody was hurt, but it was definitely tension in LA. I remember that. You know what I mean? Gang tension.
Yeah, man. I was performing with Jay Prince in Houston. That's when that was around the same time I got the chain back, and I flew out there to Houston for Jay Prince Jr. Day. While I was performing, that happened on the rooftop. Yeah, so I remember that. That's why I said I know it was March, clear as day. All right, man. And
yeah, for sure.
So the reason why I brought up the Dr. Sebi thing, because like I'm into like, I'm a vegan, as I told you, and I'm into natural holistic healing and stuff like that. I'm not into no pharmaceutical and stuff like that. I'm 100% not with this jab thing that's going on. But I heard on your live that you did say that you got vaccinated, right? Right now in New York, and I'm pretty sure in California, they're doing the same thing, that they're forcing kids to get it. They're firing nurses that was on the front line, that was taking care of the people with COVID last year, right? And but they're telling them, well, you heroes last year, zeros today. How do you feel about that? And also, like, do you feel like what is your feelings about them trying to mandate them to get vaccinated? Do you feel like they should, or do you feel like it's wrong for them firing them? What's just your thoughts, period, on it?
First of all, I want to make a comment. I've never seen Balance this quiet ever in any conversation I've ever had in life. Every time
I'm gonna talk. I'm sorry, y'all.
I told you chime in whenever, Balance. Just tell me, hold on, because I got this.
I ran and got some water. My bad, but because
I've had conversations. I've had conversations with Balance, like just like on the side, and she is just always got something to say. So I'm just like, dang, she being quiet.
I'm gonna talk. I'm definitely gonna talk, right. But I'll let you answer, and then I'm gonna chime in. Okay, for sure. Yeah, my thoughts are, I believe it's a person's choice, obviously, but as far as like the man, like, all right. So my thoughts on the vaccine itself. I'm vaccinated, I, based on the information that I have and everything that I said, I feel like it's completely safe for me. Now, I can't say completely safe, but it was, primarily safe. I've had it, I've been vaccinated, I'm fine. My 75-year-old father has been vaccinated since last year, the end of last year. He's fine. Now people say we don't know what this long-term effect, we don't know the long-term effects of a lot of different things. You know what I mean? But we're fine. I'm okay. I didn't see it. I did my own research and looking into it. I've done like research online and read different articles, read about who invented the vaccine, when did it develop. I did this all during the course when they were talking about this vaccine coming. So I felt comfortable taking it. Two of my best friends that I work with very closely, my two best friends are both doctors, you know what I mean? So I've been talking to them the whole time about it, So they're like, yeah, like we're getting it. So I was just like, all right, so I've made the decision to get it. Now, the problem I think that everybody or most people have with it is the fact that when the government, I don't really feel comfortable with the government outreaching and outstretching its hand on people. That's the part that just gets a little tricky. It feels uneasy. I feel uneasy about it. I understand people feel uneasy about it. Even though I'm vaccinated, like I went to a restaurant on my birthday and they were like, could you show us that was the first time anybody ever did that. Like I had to show up. I was just like, damn, that just
you still weird. Felt uneasy, even though you're vaccinated.
It feels weird. The fact that these, now they're not forcing you, but they're making it difficult for you to maneuver and move around without certain things. So that feels a little awkward, man. I don't really like that. And I understand other people's hesitancy. And I understand when you put these kind of mandates in place, it makes people feel uneasy, and it makes people feel like, some people even more hesitant to want to go get it. Like, you know what? Just because you're saying that, I've had friends tell me, like, just because they're doing that, I don't want to do it. I don't trust it. And I understand where that energy comes from. So, yeah, I don't know. I hope that answers the question as far as.
Yeah, I mean, so you're basically you for personal choice. You know what I mean?
I'm for personal choice in all aspects of life, but at the same time, I do understand, like, if you believe that this is a pandemic and that there are like, I'm gonna just be honest. I have a sister, you know what I'm saying, who is very ill right now from COVID. You know what I'm saying? Has not that, I'm trying not to be personal, you know what I'm saying?
But right. I'm
just gonna say, who's, so I've seen both sides. I've seen that side, and just like, yo, like, I have friends who have died from COVID. You know what I'm saying? From COVID-19.
Well, you know that you can still get it with the vaccine, though. You do know that, right? And spread
Absolutely.
it. Get it and spread it.
So, but here's my thing. And I'm not trying to see, I have to be careful when I talk about these kind of things, because I don't want to seem like I'm pushing people to get the vaccine, because I'm not. You know what I mean? I'm just giving you my information that I have received and that I looked up. So if I'm looking at the vaccine, I'm looking at the number of people that have gotten the vaccine and the number of people who have had to go to the hospital, and the number of people who have died. It is significantly low than people who have not. Although it is still very rare to even get it and die if you don't have the vaccine. So I understand. I look at things literally from a logical standpoint. It's very rare for you to even get it and die, even if you're not vaccinated.
Right.
So
the 99.7% survival rate. Right.
Yeah. So people are like, yo, I'm gonna take my chances. And I understand that. So it's just, it's kind of a hard one to, you know what I mean? I understand why it's hard. It's a hard pill for people to swallow. No pun intended.
I'm gonna take it a little left focus, because you took it there, but
it's the rabbit hole. That's the main topic of the world. We got to talk about that.
I didn't say, hey, and I'm not vaccinated. I know you didn't ask me, but I'm just letting you know that I'm not vaccinated. But I was gonna say that. I was gonna talk about today's rappers, because I have two rappers here. Like, I mean, like, it's kind of dope. But I want to talk about conscious rap, because, I love the Lock Sessions. Those are like kind of like my favorite albums for real. But I wanted to discuss like today's music, the industry today, because I think a lot of the rap music is all about entertainment. We know what they're talking about. It's not conscious rap. But I mean, your rap is a lot more conscious. So what do you feel about the rappers today in the music industry today, and kind of the message they're putting out to not just children, but to everybody in general?
See, this is what you be doing, Bounce. You got to be specific with your questions. If you want to ask me about a specific rapper or a specific situation, it's so broad. Like, because you could be saying, what do you think about rappers? And I can have certain rappers in my head, and I'm thinking about that, and you're thinking about like, you know what I mean? Right. So it's just like,
but if we look at the majority,
why don't you tell me your opinion, and I'll give you my commentary on
it. Okay, but I'm just gonna today's music, I think social media has made it where everybody sounds the same to me. So a lot of times people will say like this rapper, but I don't know the difference. Like they literally sound exactly the same, and they're pushing the same music, and they're pushing the same agendas in their music. Like if you listen to rap lyrics today and you read the lyrics, they're saying the same thing. They're saying the same thing to the same type of beat. So, and I'm talking about majority. So it's like, what's the overall agenda? Why is this the sound? Why could you have the majority of rappers rapping like this, but then your music doesn't sound like that? It's more conscious. So why do you think that is my question.
Well, I don't know what other people are listening to. You know what I mean? What I listen to is, if you want to hear the last albums that I've listened to, Kanye's album, you know what I mean? Drake's album. I'm still listening to YBN Corday's album, or Corday he goes by now. I'm listening to underground stuff. My man Ari the Rugged Man, from from Long Island. I'm listening to lyricists. I'm listening to Kendrick. I'm waiting for Kendrick stuff. I'm listening to, K Slade freestyles. I'm listening to, My Son. I'm listening to King Los. I'm listening to Mark Battles. I'm listening to lyricists. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. So that's what I'm saying. So I'm not, but I understand. I think I understand what you're saying. Like there is all this music that is like not conscious or not to be considered conscious. But I don't know. Consciousness is kind of in the eye of the beholder. Like, you know what I mean? Like certain people may say I'm not conscious. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I've been called everything. Like, so I don't really know. So that's why when I say like,
let me get specific
about this or that, you got to get specific.
Yeah, let me get specific.
He's the one that's gonna name names.
I ain't gotta name names, but I'm gonna just get specific.
But look, I don't even think it's not even got to be negative. You just say like, yo, this artist is more about this. This artist is more about that.
No, without even naming names, I'm gonna talk about a specific culture because it's another culture. It's few cultures within hip hop, right? And this culture I call deaf culture, the drill rap. I'm gonna be honest with you, drill rap. I love the music. I'm not gonna lie. I don't want to say it sound like a hypocrite. I dance to it. It's the beats be dope. The lyrics is not lyrical, but the lyrics with the beat make you bounce to it. But I don't like when they put each other in the pack and smoke them. You know what I mean? I don't like that. We growing up, I'm from the project, I'm from the hood, I'm from the streets. We didn't disrespect the dead like that. If you was on that side of the gun, you even respected him because he was a gangster. You ain't going over there pissing on graves and you ain't putting them in the blunt, disrespecting them on record. You know what I mean? But I don't like that about drill rap, and that culture has spread around like wildfire. I mean, it's everywhere. It's through the whole. It's around the world now. UK got their own drill shit, and they don't even have guns over there, but they stabbing each other. It's a stab culture going on over there in the UK, and it's terrible. And I'm not gonna lie, I never in my life, Locksmith, I was one of the people always defend hip hop. Yo, that gangster rap coin. Yo, that gang. That's the reason why. I'm like, yo, it's just entertainment. No. Drill rap is not just entertainment. Because they go shoot you, they go stab you, and then they go on a song and they go on live and they talk about it.
Like what's going on in Central Florida and all them young cats.
Yep, it's going on in New York too. It's heavy in New York, Atlanta too. I'm in Atlanta, everywhere, bro. It's in
Atlanta.
Memphis.
Is crazy right now.
Crazy. It's even over there in the West Coast. You know what I mean? It's crazy right now. Why do you feel about that?
Okay.
Well, I think we're diagnosing a deeper sickness, and I don't think you can blame. See, in a way, we are looking at it the same. Like you said, I used to defend it, but I can't defend it now because I don't know how old you are or anything like that, but I know that you have.
I'm 38.
Okay, so you're a little bit older, more mature in the game now. You don't think the same as you did when you was 28 or when you was 18. You know what I mean?
Right.
So the way we view it, that's a lot of the way we look at things. We look at it the way that our parents used to look at it when we was coming up. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I remember when my mama caught me with NWA, it was considered, it was like, yo, we had to sit down.
I got you.
Real. Like, I remember I was in the bathroom and I was about to take a shower. My mama snatched me out the bathroom and was like, what is this? Like, somehow she found my cassette player with my NWA tape. And she was like, what is this? Wow. Like, she was just like upset. She took it away. And it was just like all hell broke loose. And I just went and got me another NWA tape. Like, you know what I mean? Like a month later, like, but so that's the way they viewed it. They was like, this is destructive. This is killing and blah, 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 blah. And there is some truth to that. But I think that the drill music, it's just part of a bigger problem. That's the sickness that's plaguing the community. You know what I'm saying? And drill music is just a branch that's coming out of this tree that's been existed for a long time. That's the sickness, and that's going into another topic, but particularly the African-American and impoverished and disenfranchised communities, particularly with ours here in North America. You know what I mean? Like, these are the problems that we've been dealing with since we came over here, since we've been put in these conditions, and it's just manifesting over time in different ways, and it's coming up. And unfortunately, the youth is usually the ones where we see it at, because they don't have the wisdom and they don't have the understanding to navigate it the way we do now that we've gotten past it. You know what I mean? Like you talk about things that you've done in the streets and how you've been in the streets, and now you're able to look back and be like, yo, that ain't the way we need to do it. You know, we don't need to do that no more. But they in it now, and they're manifesting it in the way they manifested it. And they're gonna manifest it in probably more outrageous ways because all the other shit has already been done.
Right,
so
right.
I think it's unfortunate. I'm not condoning it, but I do be trying to understand. I'd be like, and I don't really like, but there are some artists like that are doing it. Like you said, there's some dope songs. Like for me personally, I can't listen to just nonsense. Like I just can't. Like I can listen to maybe like 1 or 2 songs. I'm like, oh, this nigga going crazy. You know what I mean? But at the same time, if I have something that's sustainable, like I gotta, like I think an artist that does, I mean, it's not really drill. He's from the West Coast. I don't know if y'all heard of Baby Keem. You know what I'm saying? Like he was on Kanye's album. He's like, he got a couple songs with Kendrick. Like he's super dope. And it's kind of got, it's like drill, but it's West Coast. I don't know how to explain it, but he's kind of got that style, but he still be dropping gems. And like, he be talking about, my mama was, you know what I'm saying? We was on, you know, we was going through this, we was going through that. So it's like, it's not like conscious, but to me, it's kind of conscious. You know what I'm saying? Because he's talking about the struggles and the thing that he's going through. And I like, but when it's just like straight out nonsense, ridiculousness, I personally can't listen to. I'd be like, I can't, that guy needs to mature. You know what I'm saying? Like I can't.
That guy needs to mature. Yeah, I got you.
That's not for me. You know what I mean? I'm a grown man. I can't listen to that, you know?
And I think all of us are 30 plus, so we're not children, right? But then, but you have children that are very impressionable, and we can see it, we can look at it and see it like, oh, that's entertainment, right? Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like that's just what they're doing, like a little Nas X. You know what I mean? That's their form of.
I knew that was coming.
Yeah, I was like,
that was coming.
That one was definitely coming.
But I didn't even know I was gonna bring him up, but he just crossed my mind for some reason. I don't know. But I'm saying, like, you know, I'm not a fan of Little Nas X. Honestly, I've never heard his music. So I don't know what he talks about, but I do know that he has a lot of children that follow him. But I feel like I know him more for the outlandish things that he does and says and not his music. So we can see it as entertainment, but the children, I think, they don't see it that way. I think they're implementing these things. You know what I mean? I think they're emulating is what I'm trying to say. They're emulating this and they see it as like, it's more than just entertainment. It's a lifestyle to them. So I don't know
if they, impressionable.
Yes, they are. And it's like, so I think that's a challenge and an issue, but I don't like, how do you see us helping that cause?
I think it starts, I mean, this is gonna sound hella cliche and people don't like to hear this. I think everything starts within the family. You know what I mean? I think all these things start, if you look at like, people want to talk about statistics as far as this vaccine, but we got another virus that's plaguing the Black community. You know what I'm saying? And you know, that virus is the oppression that's been set for a very long time. And these diseases and these illnesses, these mental illnesses, these spiritual illnesses that's been plaguing the community for hundreds of years now are, I believe, that have been doing damage for far longer. And it starts with, and if you look, I don't know the rates, I don't know them by heart, but I've looked at it recently, like the amount of dysfunction and broken up families and all these different things. And I'm not saying it's Black people, it's all our fault, because it's not, because there are systems put in place a long time ago that ensure that we don't succeed. But at some point in time, we gotta start being like, look, these outside forces, we gotta bond together, like within the Black community, and be like, look, like I worked for a very long time mentoring, just like the brother Hocus was talking about, like mentoring, giving back to the communities. I did that for many, many years, like working in Richmond, in the community that I grew up in, you know, these communities where I was just like trying to mentor these kids. And it was great to do that. But I see the dysfunction and the problems within our own community that is just like, yo, like, where are our role models? Like, why are our children being raised by their grandparents who are 65 years old and they're trying to take care of a 7-year-old and an 8-year-old? They don't have the energy to do that. You know what I mean? They're not, even though we love our grandmamas and our big mamas for doing that, but they don't have the energy to be out there. So by the time you get 10, 11 years old, the streets is just you out there. You doing, you know what I'm saying? You're not going to school no more, or you going to school, but you're not really doing it. And then by the time you're 13, you go into continuation school. You know what I mean? And I'm not saying school is like the savior of God or anything. I'm just saying that our structure and these things are not in place. Like if you look back in the 70s, even though we had gangs and stuff was fucked up, but you at least still have fathers there at home. You still have mom and dad there. Like, it's a reason why it takes a man and a woman to create a child. It's a reason. You need both. You know what I'm saying? You need the XX and the XY. Like, you need it to create it. And there's a reason why the daughter or the son needs that. And I'm not trying to take anybody's lifestyle, saying like I'm just saying that there is a reason why genetically, biologically, you need those two things that, to create life on earth. And if you strip away at a high rate those balancing things, then what are we going to be left with? You left with the crack epidemic. You left with the pill epidemic. You left with the gang epidemic. What is the gang? It's, people trying to find families outside of their family because they don't really have the family a lot of time. You know what I mean? So I feel like in 2021, we forgot about all the things that we were trying to get going back in the 90s. Like, I remember going to these youth seminars, going to these type of things, talking about like, yo, we need to do this, we need to do that. And it's like, now motherfuckers don't even think about that shit no more. We just like, yo, we need to, like, it's just a trip, man. It's just like, why are the rates of single females higher than they've ever been before? You know what I'm saying? Where like we're and people can act like that don't make a difference, but I just believe it make a difference. Like,
of course,
like, dude, you need your motherfucker. If you're a man, definitely you need your dad, or you need some kind of male role model to be like, nah, you don't need to do that shit. Sit your little ass down. Like, that's the way I grew up. Like, I had my dad. I also had my big brothers. Like, people, a lot of times, just there's no accountability for our kids growing up, and it's just messed up and it's unfortunate. So that's why you get this culture of kids that just are just trying to find a way. That's why I look at it.
But briefly,
I just went on a tangent.
No, great. That was great, bro. When somebody spreading their wisdom, I don't cut them off. But a quick solution. What do you think is a quick solution to that? Like, how do we resolve that?
And they call it post-traumatic slave syndrome.
We need stronger families. We need to strengthen our families. That's what I believe. Well, you can take that however you want to take it. That's just what I always believe. It starts with the family, and I believe our families we just got our problems. I just feel like we've gotten worse over time. Like, if you go back to like the 60s and the 70s, like, even though there was segregation, there were all these different things, but the Black families were more together. You know what I mean?
And that's my point, because it really is a cycle, because we don't have dads in the house that are with the moms raising the children, right? We have entertainment, the music, the social media, and the television raising these kids. So they're telling them that it's okay to treat women in a certain manner that's causing these single parent homes to skyrocket. You know what I mean? Like, it is the entertainment that's teaching these kids that this is the lifestyle to have. Housewives, all these shows that people are constantly watching, and they're emulating this. They don't look at it as entertainment. They look at it, they normalize it.
So let me pose a question. Let me pose a question to you, Balance. Would you like the government to come in and regulate the music?
No, I think, no.
Hell no. Hell no.
We need to do it ourselves. But I'm thinking about, like,
exactly.
Every time a leader does try to step up and do it, what happens to him?
Well, I think the regulation needs to start before it gets to that point. Like, it's got to start to me, like I said, it got to start at the family level. It's got to start at the, you know what I mean? Because if you raise I don't have any children, but my best friend has children. His son is 18 years old. He don't be all over social media. He's not, he follows some trends, but he doesn't live. That's because he got his dad to be like, we ain't doing this. You ain't doing that. I'm gonna drive here. I'm gonna take you here. Nah, you know what I mean? But if you don't have those kind of things, you're more susceptible to be subjective to be like influenced by social media. You know what I mean?
By social media and everything around you, your people, your peers and everything, like, or what you watching outside, you watching the guy in the corner, you know what I mean? Or whoever that's, that's the influential around you. I want to go down the rabbit hole a little bit, unless Balance, you had something else?
Yeah, I was just going to add really quick, because I don't want to stay on this topic forever, but it's just such a big deal to me, because we have so many homes like this where, nobody's raising the boys, nobody's raising the girls. So I think that's how the gang culture grows, because they're searching for that family. Their parent, I agree with you, Locksmith, the parents should do it. but most of the parents are single parents and they're living at a certain class level where they're always at work or gone on drugs or something. Is poverty is the real enemy.
Yes.
So they're not raising the kids, even though I know they should be. But I'm saying, like, obviously they're not there. That's not working. So I'm like, we have to find other solutions, even though I agree 1,000%. Like, what else can we do to help the cause? Because it's like we could save family, but they're not, the parents don't have the time, the energy, the patience, even the knowledge a lot of times, or they're not there. And it's like, so that doesn't mean that child's a lost cause.
So you're saying like, how do we break that cycle?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's the question we've been asking for a long time.
That's the question, right? It's more of a rhetorical question. How do we do it? And
but I think all of us, even us having this conversation, this is a mastermind right now. You know what I mean? Us having this conversation, because it starts with us, right? And it's like we have to do, like, Locksmith, I don't have any children either, but Hocus, I know you have children. And it's like we are the ones that need to come together and do something. Like we could do
like something. You said family. I think family, when I hear him say that, I'm thinking of tribal. I'm thinking of, all of us as family. It take a village, right, to raise a child, right? Like, we got to get connected back with, like you said, with the community and not just, of course we got to, your immediate family, but we know that, little Jerry over here ain't got his pop still. Somebody, look, little Jerry, come on, it's okay. You know what I mean? Like, you with us. Yeah. We need more stand-up men doing that rather than, the influence we already know is all negative right now. But I wanted to go, it's kind of along the same lines. He touched on mental illness was one of the questions. He already touched on that. But another thing I think that's keeping us separated and segregated mentally is religion. I don't know your religious beliefs. And I'm going to ask it, you Muslim? Okay. I think that, see, you Muslim, and then you got right now it's a big rise in the, what you call them, the Moors and the Israelites. And then you got, because I be having them on my platform a lot too, on my lives. Then you got the Christians and balance to tell you, we go down a rabbit hole every night. What does it turn into?
There's an argument about
the religion hole, because the Bible versus this and that. I see a big separation there, bro. Do you see the same, or how do you feel about that?
Do I see? I don't know. I guess maybe I'm not very much. I'm not in that
tapped into your community. Yeah, you tapped into your community.
I'm not in that circle. Like I said, I've worked in the community, mentoring kids. It was never a religious thing. It was always just about helping the community, building the community. So I don't know. I just look at that like, I don't know. I regardless of whatever spiritual path we on, I just look at it as people, as all, as all of us part of the human family. Obviously, different ethnicities and different cultures have different set of issues that they need to tackle and how they need to address it. So my issues is predominantly within the African American culture, because that's what I grew up in. That's where I'm from. So my attention is going to be more towards that. But it was never a religious issue. But if you guys are experiencing something different, you can maybe explain that to me, and then I can.
Well, more so people, brothers feel like they can't, like, they don't consider other brothers. It's crazy how, like, if we did, right, if our ancestors both came up this boat, but one chose Muslim, one chose Christian, they probably could have been brothers. Now we can't look at each other as brothers. Like, they really be on it like that. Like, some Christians don't look at other people, if you're not a Christian, as a brother, when we all in the same fight together, and we can live in the same projects, and it'd be like that. And it's like, that's a big disconnect right there. You know what I'm saying? And we all allegedly African Americans. Some people feel like we native to this land.
Well, I mean, you got to look at it like this. I mean, but I'm just careful of that, because even within Africa, people act like in Africa, everybody in Africa was just one big African family and kumbaya. Like, you had tribes, you had motherfuckers born within Africa. Like, nah, we watch out for them over there. And those are the Mandinkas, and this is this, and like, you know what I'm saying? So it was different. I'm Zulu. Like, it was, you had tribal stuff going on within Africa. So we can't act like everything was just like Africa was paradise on earth, where there was no division. Like, there was division. Like, see, that's another thing. Like, me personally, I don't look at African African culture as a perfect culture. Like, I believe that we have problems even within Africa, and even problems within the African American community. We have problems within that. So I'm not going to sit here and act like we are perfect. The white man is a devil and all black people are heavenly, because that ain't the case.
No.
You know what I'm saying?
No. But the problem comes in is that as a people, we get oppressed from the same oppressor.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So, whether I think I'm Christian, you think you must, I'm not any religion, by the way. I'm just a spiritual being having a human experience. But whether I believe I'm Christian, you believe you're Muslim, he believes he's more, and he believes he's Israelite. And we, all of us feel like, well, we can't, come together because we, I got my tribe. That same oppressor will take each and every one of us out at the same. You know what I'm saying? They look at us the same. So, I'm not Mr. Pro-Black Lives Matter at the same time. I'm not, you know what I mean? But I do point out when I see things that's wrong. I see my people getting oppressed. If I got to choose a side, I'm going to choose this side. But you know what I mean? Like, I got white friends. I got, all type of, like, I'm not that person. I believe what you said. We all here having a human experience, right? I agree with you on that one. But, I just think that, but we all pressed together in some way, somehow. We need to come together. We all killing each other in these neighborhoods. Some, like you said, the family structure need to come together as a whole. I agree with you with the family structure, but I think as a whole, as a people,
And I posted on my Instagram a few days ago that the real pandemic is division, because whether we're being divided by our color, our religion, our class, whatever those things are, it's keeping us divided, and it's making it so we can't build together and work together. You know what I mean?
Not to cut you off, I just feel like anybody who is like I'm a Muslim, this is the faith that I embrace, that I studied, that I learned, and I figured was the best path for me. But any Muslim, especially people that I know, like, if your religion, like, I've worked with Christian brothers, I work with, Hotep, Kemetic people who identify with that, the Moors, the Moles, whatever. Like, if we have a common ground that we're trying to do, that should be the common ground. That should always be the way.
I agree.
You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't matter. Like, my mom was Christian. You know what I'm saying? My father was Muslim. I grew up going to church. You know what I'm saying? I see truth and I see understanding in both sides, or in all sides. So I'm just like, I'm not gonna let, because I have a different spiritual path. I feel like it's deeper than that. It goes deeper than just because you're religious, I can't fuck with you. I think it's just like, I think that it's so complex, like within Black people, even our oppressor, like we say the oppressor, but even that's so nuanced. You know what I'm saying? It's like so nuanced. It's like, oh, well, I'm getting oppressed like over here. Well, I'm getting oppressed like this. You know what I'm saying? It was like, well, I'm like, I think to even put it under umbrella, it says like the oppressor, like even the oppressor, that is so nuanced to say that we all, like, because some people will be like, well, nah, I don't get down with that because I'm getting it good over here. You know what I mean? Like, it's just so nuanced, man. I think that's why I take it back to the family. You take it back, like, you got to create your own tribe and nurture them and educate them. And that's the way I feel like that's how societies have always been able to blossom. It's like, you got to teach and educate. So even if the oppressor comes and breaks you down and destroy you, you still got that foundation. If you don't have that foundation that starts with your family, with your mother and father, with your grandparents, with your ancestors, you be like, look, this is who I am. Like, where are you from? Like, Black people, where are we from? What tribe do you come from? How many people have taken the time? Like, what do we even, like, we don't even know. Like, we're so cut off from those things. We don't know if we from Liberia. We don't know if we from Nigeria. Like, we just like cut off. We like, all right, well, I'm from Richmond. You know what I'm saying? Like, so right there, we just starting in a foundation that's already shaky. And I think like that's kind of like, we gotta like work backwards to try to kind of like to catch up with the rest of the world, because we're the only people in modern civilization that was brought from another continent, you know what I mean, to another continent and completely cut off. We have other people's names, other people's identities. And I feel like we kind of got to go back to that. And not saying we got to go all the way back to Africa and wear dashikis or anything like that, but we have to like start with our tribe, with our family. Like, look, you need to understand these values. This is what it means to be a Black person in America. But we completely lost that. So that's why, I don't know, I always take it back to the family.
I agree with that.
what does working backwards actually look like? Like, what are the action steps, right? Because we can sit here and say that, but I mean, what do we physically do? You know, what's tangible? Because like even right now, we're talking about the Black experience or the Black culture. There is no such thing, honestly, if we think about it, because we all have different cultures, right? Mm-hmm. We all have different experiences. We all have different backgrounds and religions. There really is no Black culture because we're all different. We're all separated. We're all divided. So I think, yeah, back to the family for sure. But how do we do that? Okay, I could say, let's say me, I could start my own family and raise and teach my family, but I'm still a part of my community, right? So what do I do now in my community?
I mean, I guess in my opinion, I would say have a, I mean, you see, I'm not saying specifically to you, but a person like you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I would say it starts with our moral conduct. It starts with the way we carry ourselves. It starts with educating ourselves. It starts with, because all those things are going to have an effect on your community. And when I say community, I'm talking about with your family, because you know, I don't know, at one point in time, you know, you may want to have kids, you may want to start a family. Like, so right. If it starts with, like, you're already a conscious person, you're aware of these things. So you're going to teach your family, you're going to be there for your kids. You're going to try to choose a partner who's going to be the best person to start your tribe with. You know what I mean? Like, if we don't value those things anymore, then it ain't gonna, I mean, how could we even start that? We just gonna be making babies. We just gonna be growing up, doing whatever, you know, getting raised by Instagram, being raised by TikTok. And that's what, and it ain't just white, it ain't just Black folks.
It's
white
not.
People too. You know, white people get raised by this shit too. It's just that they have a different structure in place where they can, like, you know what I mean, navigate it differently. But they influenced by Lil Nas X too. You know what I'm saying? But their influence, their infrastructure is different because they didn't come here in shackles. So their shit is a little bit more in place than us, whereas like our shit is just like, I don't know what I am. What am I? You know what I mean?
So when Lil Nas X, is there a gay agenda, you think, or is this just him doing what he feel like he just expressing himself?
Well, I mean, if I say yes, that can be misconstrued as like there's like a gay mafia sitting around the table that's just like, all right, you know what I'm saying? We got to make niggas gay. Like,
well, I'm gonna shut up.
Well, look, if that is the case, I have seen no proof of that. We can speculate and say that's what it is, but I will say it is very, I mean, there's no hiding the fact that gay people have been fighting for recognition. Gay people have been pushing to put their images more on TV. They, you know, they'll tell you like, yo, we want to have more diversity in the LGBT. We want, like, this is not that's an agenda.
Yeah. You know that's an agenda. Right, so right.
That's not hidden. So it's not like there's some secret Illuminati gay, like they said, like, yo, we want to have gay mothers and fathers. We want to have these things. We want to make sure that there's all, like, if you go back to when we was watching sitcoms back in the day, you know what I'm saying? It was, you know, the Cosby Show was Who's the Boss? You know what I'm saying? Like, there was no, like, you know what I mean? There was none
of that. Now there's somebody gay in everything. Like, it's like sort of like a program, and it has to be, so to speak.
Yeah, and listen, and whether you think that's good or bad, but the question is there an agenda? Of course there's an agenda. Where there's some nefarious agenda, I can't say that I've seen any evidence of that. We could speculate about it, and I don't want to speculate.
Well, maybe not in the entertainment and hip hop. I mean, but what do you think about this? Drag queen hour for first graders. Also,
I never heard of that.
Never heard of that? Oh God, they have drag queen hours. Drag queen hour. They're teaching the first graders, and also a school in New York, a private school, is teaching first graders how to masturbate.
I've never heard of that in my life.
Yeah,
I'm just gonna be honest.
No, but go look it up. This is a fact. You go Google this. As soon as we done with this, you can go.
I wish my computer wasn't dead.
I hold on. I got, matter of fact, we on what's the name? I can share screen real quick while y'all talk. Hold on, let me go to it.
I never, but that sounds crazy. I mean,
yeah.
We had sex education in school, but not like that. You know, they weren't teaching us how to masturbate. So I haven't heard of that hocus. I don't know about that.
I'm gonna show y'all.
I've never heard of it, but I just want to say that I definitely plan on having children. And when I do, I definitely don't plan on them going to public schools. So, and it's because of reasons like this, I don't agree with what they're teaching the children, how they're teaching the children. I don't want my children there. Oh, you about to do a screen share?
I'm not playing. Drag Queen Story Hour. Yeah, I don't see this in the schools. The first grade, look, they run around the country and they have these in the schools. And some of them,
they have them come to the schools and sing and stuff like that.
And no, but some of them, they're mandated. Like in Jersey, they're mandated this. They mandated it. A few places in Houston. I mean, well, I won't say Houston. I say Texas.
Go to the about thing.
Okay.
So let me read. It says Drag Queen Story Hour is just what it sounds like. Drag queens reading stories to children in library, schools, and bookstores captures the imagination and play of the gender fluidity of childhood and give kids glamorous, positive, and unabashedly queer role models in spaces like this. Yeah, I mean, like I said, that I think that goes back to what we talk about, like saying like the LGBT community is a community that exists in our country that is very much fighting to get their voices heard. So you're gonna have things like this. That don't even surprise me like that, because even when I was a kid, I'll give you an example. When I was a kid, there was a thing called Challenge Day. I don't know if anybody else had this.
No.
So Challenge Day was a day where you got out of school for pretty much the whole day. You were in school, but they took like a certain number of kids, like for like half the day, like half the school would maybe go, or let's just say 10%, 20% of the school would go during the first 4 periods, and then the other 20% would go during the last 4 periods. And they would only take a certain amount of kids. But for me, I just didn't want to go to class. So anything get out of class, I'm like, yo, I want to sign up for Challenge Day. So then I remember going to Challenge Day, and what Challenge Day was, it had nothing to do with academics. It had nothing to do with learning or anything. It was about them teaching us it was really a psychology class. It was really like them talking about psychology and how psychology affects us and how do you feel about this? And it was just very weird. And I remember being like, yo, what is this? Like, what are we doing? So basically you found out stuff about people, like if people felt like they were attracted to men or women, and you felt like, have you ever felt like, it wasn't anything to do about academics, but it was more so learning about emotions and psychology and sexuality and tolerance and inclusion.
How old was you when you went to psychology? How old were you?
This was back, this is high school. This is like 15, 16.
That's high school. This is first graders.
Look, I know, but
they're teaching first graders how to masturbate.
This was back. That's what I'm saying. But even then, I remember like, yo, this is weird. So
even then you remember them. Look what they said. Sometimes I touch my penis, but it feels good. This is what the video says to first graders. This is what the first graders like.
What is this though? I don't know what
this is. This is a private school in New York that they mandated them to teach them kids about masturbating, adults and parents, and raised over masturbation videos over first graders. And this is the article.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And you gotta you don't have to, but after seeing stuff like this, you'll be blind. After seeing it, you'll be blind to not say that there isn't some agenda to get these kids, sexualize these children in some way.
Well, when you say agenda, I just feel like you gotta be like, I mean, the government ain't man. Like, I don't know what, like, there, like, I just say, yeah, there is an agenda. You know what I mean? Like I said, I believe that the LGBTQ community wants to have a voice, and that's separate. I don't know if that has anything to do with the masturbation thing. Like, I can't conflate and connect those two things. Like, you had the drag queen thing, and then you had the masturbation. I don't know, like, was the drag queen, were they the ones teaching the masturbation? Like, I don't want to put two things. I don't want to put two things together and say this is all one thing. So I just got to take it.
As a grown man, we can say that's wrong, right? Like, yo, as an adult, we can say, yo, that's wrong, right?
Oh, I would never want my kids learning about sex in from
we
school.
Should, that's the whole point of a lot of parents biology. Is that we should have that option. Now, there's a lot. See, I'm really in this rabbit hole, so I see it more often than you. It's not just those two videos I show you. there's a lot of videos I can show you with parents in these conferences and they talking about it. Like they beefing and they arguing over it. Like, I don't want my child learning about sex at 5 years old, 6 years old. You know, that should be my option, but they're trying to mandate it in certain schools, you know what I mean, around the country. You know, that's all.
I've heard, I've seen that.
So Locksmith, I guess if you do plan on having your own children, would you like them to go to a school like that and learn that? Or what, instead it starts in the family. So what would you do in your family to change that? Like, would you just take them out of school? Would you just do something in the community, protest at the school? What would you do?
Yeah, I don't know. I had a friend. So it's funny that you say this. I had a friend in a similar situation. Literally, he had a kid, wasn't that young, but was still young. Like, you know what I mean? And they were like, yo, we're going to be doing this. And he was just like, yo, so he had to go to the school, be like, look, I don't want, so he worked it out where he was able to pull his kid out of that. And you know what I'm saying? Where he was legally able to do that. Look, I don't want my kid participating in this part of the curriculum. I want to be able to teach him that and blah, 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 blah. And he went through the necessary steps and did that. So I would think that if I would want my kid, I'm more on that side. Like, I don't want anybody teaching my kid about sex except me, because that's the way I was taught about sex. It was from my family. You know what I'm saying? From my mother and father, they sat me down and, you know, from an early age. And as years progressed, they taught me more and more. And then by the time I got to junior highs, when they first had like sex ed, but that was more like biology. You know what I mean? Like understanding like female organs, male organs, these type of things, then you learn about it like that way. It wasn't like about masturbation. I mean, although they probably did mention masturbation, like masturbation is normal, that kind of stuff. But by then I had already been introduced to it by my father, as far as like, not masturbation, but, you know,
like talk conversation, basically. Yeah.
Yeah. We had these conversations about, you know, about sexuality and that kind of stuff. But I personally don't want nobody teaching my child about sexuality, but me and my family, you know what I mean? So I would probably take whatever necessary actions I could to be like, nah, I don't want that to happen. So I don't know. I don't have kids, so I'm not in it, but I did have a friend that went through a similar situation with his young child, his son, and he pulled them out of it and was able to get them out of the class or the instruction where they were doing that at the time. So,
well, look, we ain't gonna hold you all day, right? But I want to ask you. Another question.
No, I want to hold them all day.
I like a good conversation.
No, this is great. This is great. I want to ask you a question. So R. Kelly just got found guilty. R. Kelly just it's a rumor going around that he says that he about to rat out two people, one big rapper, one big singer. Who you think that's gonna be?
I have no idea.
He said, I ain't even going. I wouldn't even know.
He said he gonna snitch on somebody.
Yo, they said he about to give up two. They say he about to start working, man. Give up two more. Yo, this is crazy though, man. Yeah, they definitely said that though.
Depression.
I just put it on Instagram, and I had them put on who they think is gonna be. They going crazy in my comments right now. Yo, that's crazy right there.
Dang, like he said he gonna expose somebody. I mean, thing is, man, here's the thing about, I was gonna say the music industry or entertainment industry, especially the entertainment industry, because, you know, the more famous you are, the more accessibility you have to all kind of stuff. You know what I'm saying? Illegal stuff, drugs, sexual stuff, you know, like I've seen though, I'm not in it like that, obviously, because, you know, I'm not in those circles of these high famous people, but I can see when you get to that point, how certain things are at your disposal and have you accessible. And there's probably a lot of people that are doing a lot of things that if it came out, a lot of people would think is foul. You know what I mean? So that don't surprise me. That doesn't surprise me. I don't doubt R. Kelly. I don't doubt him for 1 second. It's probably more than that.
Yo, for real. He knows them all. He knows them all if there is there. Balance, you got any final questions?
I was just gonna add that Michael Jackson was innocent. So
yes. Let's add that. Mike is my guy. Yo, they said that in my comments. I said leave Mike out of it. Everybody laughing over that one. Yeah.
Yeah, R. Kelly, that's a whole nother.
I tend to lean towards. I put it this way. As far as my group is concerned, I believe that there is question. There's some doubt there. So I can't say. I can't say he's guilty because now there are some things that's kind of questionable. I'm like, yeah, but from what I see, because I was when that documentary came out, what was that, like a couple years ago? That, or not even that documentary, but that whatever that was on HBO, that Leaving Neverland. I was just like, I was like, you know what, I'm gonna watch that. And I watched it, and I was just like, it was gross just to even hear it and to hear this stuff. But I was like, you know what, let me just listen to what they say so I can make a decision on myself. And I listened to it, and then I just, I was like, well, let me hear the other side. So I saw stuff that was old from years before, and people doing interviews. And I was like, even though as condemning as those dudes' testimonies were, when you put it under a microscope, it sounds a little shaky. And there's a lot of evidence that's to the contrary of that. So I just leave it as like, look, you know what? He's dead now. Unless some more information, based on the information I heard, I got to say, you just got to give Mike the innocent. There's not enough to convict him.
Yes.
It wasn't enough to convict him back when he did the trial. So you got to just let him die innocent. You know what I'm saying? Unless you got some more information. Like,
let him die innocent. I agree with that.
You gotta let him, you can't. I think somebody even tried to come out with Bob Dylan. Like some lady tried to say in 1961 or 1958, Bob Dylan sexually assaulted him. I'm like, yo, that was like 60 years ago. Like, I'm like, yo, like Bob Dylan is like 90. Like, how can you say that? Like, I'm not saying it's not true, but it's like,
I don't mean to laugh though. But that's true. Like 60 years ago. Like, come on, yo, like I'm almost out of here already. Like, I'm about to check out. Like,
so it was on Traction. I think it was like in the New York Times. It was like in one of these major publications. I'm like, yo, how can you? So that means somebody could say something 60 years later. There's no way to prove this. There's no evidence. But the simple fact that you can just make the allegation and say something like that, and people can believe it, or people can give that traction, I think that's wrong, man. Like, you can't just accuse people of stuff and we just got to take their word for it just because they said. Like, you got to show some burden. There's the burden of proof. Like, you got to show something, because there are people who are falsely accused. Like, that does exist. And I'm not saying that there are people who are predators that do horrible things. I'm just saying we got to find some criteria. We used to have a criteria. Now I feel like it's no more criteria.
And I agree with you. I also want to just ask you two more things. Well, I have a lot to ask, but Hocus got me on some type of time frame. So anyway, what do you think that we could do? I know I keep asking you all of these questions, but we could do about, because I was just looking at a study since 2019 to current today that gun violence is going up within the youth. That age group. And I was like, what do you think that we could do to help this gun violence issue? And I wanted you to just give us some info, because I know that you have new music coming out. So I wanted you to talk about that too, and where you're going to be next. So those two things.
Yeah, gun violence. I mean, I believe that people should have the rights to own guns. You know what I mean? But I do believe that I don't think it would hurt to put some more. I know a lot of people are like, they don't want to hear that. I do believe we maybe need to have some more regulations as far as certain things, like guns shouldn't be accessible. Like, I don't understand why you can just get a gun right away. Like, you know what I'm saying? I think the fact that I feel like that's just an American problem. Like, we got this obsession with guns. So guns is just out there. So that means, of course, the most impoverished people, the people who are struggling the most, they're going to need these guns to do whatever they need to do to survive. So that's why you have these illegal weapons. You have these illegal sale and trading of weapons, people, and it trickles down to the street. So it's just, I don't know what the solution to that is. Maybe we need to have more restrictions. I know people hate to say that, but I just feel like America, like, I think it goes back to just the deep rooted, just like violence of America. Like, we just a violent culture, like from how we got this land, and it's just violence. So they just trickle down and spills into all communities. So everybody feel like they need a gun. So if the white man got a gun, well, I need to get a gun too. Cause you know what I'm saying? So it's just like this violence, this culture of violence that's just plagues America. So I don't really know. I think it goes back to the mind frame, and just America's just fucked up, man. Like, I feel like other countries, like, they've admitted to their wrong, and this is going into a different thing, but I feel like America has not admitted to its evils and its things. So until America does that, and it's never going to do it. It's too late now. It's the cat is out the bag. The worm is loose. You know what I'm saying? Like the snake is out. It's not. You can't push it back in. You know what I mean? So now it's out there. But I see other countries. They've done things. They've admitted, like Germany has. They had to own up to the Holocaust. They had to talk. America has never owned up to the Black Holocaust. They've never done that. They just want to act like, oh, this is just so that history of violence to the things they've done to the Native American. Look, if you ever want to see what they go to an Indian or a native reservation, I've done shows there. It's crazy. It's terrible. It's ravaged that community. They almost don't exist. I mean, they exist, but what's left is just completely. You want to see talk about the African American. You want to see a community that's destroyed. Look at the indigenous community. Go to Canada. Look at the indigenous community up there. Like, I've seen it. I've traveled. I've done shows in these places, and to see people, the things that they've gone. So, like, I feel like America has to. The colonies. We need to own up to that. And it's just, I don't even know if that could save it. Maybe 20 years ago that would have helped, but now it's just like, now you got a generation of proverbial crack babies. And they're not necessarily crack babies, but people who are on the drug of America. You know what I mean? It's out there. It's just out there. How do you correct that? How do you, so I think that's the bigger problem. But as far as what I'm doing next, I just have a couple shows. I'm releasing a lot of new music. I have my next song that's dropping. I don't know when people gonna hear this, but I'm dropping new songs, new videos like every 2 weeks leading up to my next project. But I'm gonna be performing in Missoula, Montana, October 23rd, and I'll also be performing in Austin, Texas, on November. Is it 6th or 7th, whatever that Saturday is, but I'll be in Austin, Texas. But everything is on iamlock.com, my show, my tour schedule. But I'm not doing a full tour probably until 2022. I just been like happy being creative and working on music and having a lot of that time to work on music. So then hopefully next year when things get a little bit better as far as this pandemic is under control and venues I don't know what's going to happen. We're going to have mandates and we're not going to have mandates. I'm just kind of like waiting till this shit gets settled before I like try to go do a full tour. So I'll probably wait till next year.
All right, bro. That's what's up. Where can anybody find you at? Just, real quick.
Yeah, my website is iamlock.com.
I am Lock, L-O-C-K.
Yeah, I am Lock, IAMLOCK.com. All my social media is on there, Twitter, Instagram. You can connect with me, YouTube, everything is through that.
Yo, I appreciate you for coming down the rabbit hole with us, bro. Whenever you got something that you want to share and you need to put on this platform, hit me up.
Yeah, man. It's all love, man. And when I get out to ATL, I'm gonna hit y'all up because I'm overdue. I ain't been there in a minute.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, hit us up. We both out here. Yeah.
I'm in Atlanta too. Come out here, come check us because you got fans out here for sure.
For sure. Right. Yeah. Absolutely.
All right, bro. Thank you.
All right, y'all. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
Peace.
So, Balance, how you feel about Locksmith?
You know what? I think that I love when people have their own opinions and when people speak their truth.
This is America, right?
It is. And we're not all going to agree, but I think you guys could look and see that we could have different religions, we could have different belief systems and still be able to sit and have an intelligent conversation where nobody's offended, nobody's cursing anybody out, nobody's rude, disrespectful. We all respect each other no matter what we believe, no matter what we think, and we could still learn and find a place where we could agree on to build on, right? Because at the end of the day, it's about the collective. It's not about us individually, right? So the goal is to build collectively our communities. And, I respect him for coming on and I definitely appreciate his, what he had to say. So that was cool.
Yo, me too. I especially like when he was talking about the family, building a family structure. That's one thing we agree on. Yeah. 100%. I agree with him. 1000%. You know what I mean? And shout out to Locksmith for coming up. This is another episode of.
I wish we could have had him freestyle though. I'm just saying. I wish we
Why you didn't ask him?
Sometimes people don't like to be on the spot. You know what I'm saying?
You still gotta ask.
Freestyles is crazy, but some people don't like to be on the spot.
He's a lyricist. He would have did it. He's a lyricist.
Dang, now you gotta make me that would have been dope. If
next
he would have
time,
did a hot freestyle, yo, that would have been fire. That would have been fire.
Next, we gonna get him back for a freestyle.
Yeah,
even if it's just on a live or something.
That would be dope.
Yo, but shout out to all y'all that's that's tuned in, that mess with the rabbit hole. This Hocus 4/5. This is Balance, and this is the rabbit hole. And we out.
Peace.